FIFA is trying to sell a piece of the business built around the World Cup. Europe's answer was immediate. Absolutely not. Not one UEFA nation supported the plan. All 55 voted to boycott FIFA competitions, while the proposal remains alive. Spain said no. Germany said no. France and England said no. Even the reigning world champions were prepared to walk away. And that should tell you something, because countries do not threaten the World Cup over a minor accounting change. They do it when they believe someone is trying to change who controls the tournament, who profits from it, and what it ultimately exists to serve. FIFA's proposal would move its commercial and event operations into a new company called FIFA Forward Enterprise, separating the money-making machinery from the familiar institution. That company has reportedly been valued at approximately $20 billion, with private investors offered a stake of up to 20%. In plain English, FIFA wants outside investors to own part of the business built around football's biggest tournament. FIFA says it would still control every sporting decision, including the rules, the calendar, the format, and the selection of host countries. Private investors do not spend billions for the privilege of watching football. They invest because they expect the asset to produce more money. And once the World Cup becomes an investor asset, every commercial decision begins with a new question. How much more can this generate? More matches generate more money. Higher ticket prices generate more money. More subscriptions and sponsorship inventory generate more money. FIFA may retain the rulebook, but investors do not need to choose the host city to influence what the organization calls success. The strangest part is not even who the investors are. It is how FIFA asked its own members to approve the deal. According to published reports, each of FIFA's 211 member associations was offered a one-time payment of roughly $20 million. Approve the plan by September 19th, and the federation receives the larger payment. Miss the deadline, and the alternative package becomes dramatically smaller. That is not patient consultation. That is financial pressure with an expiration date. Some federations reportedly learned important details from journalists before receiving a proper explanation from the organization, asking them to approve the transformation. Imagine discovering that part of the World Cup business may be sold because a reporter asks whether you support it. Then FIFA arrives with a contract, a deadline, and a check large enough to transform your national football system. That is not how an organization earns informed consent from its members. That is how it manufactures urgency before difficult questions can slow the process down. Or, to put it more simply, it is an ultimatum with a coupon attached. UEFA answered with an emergency meeting. More than 50 associations spoke, and the opposition ended in a unanimous vote. 55 members voted against the proposal. Not one UEFA association broke ranks, abstained, or decided the promised payment was worth the risk. Not one European association believed the proposal had earned enough trust, transparency, or genuine consultation to continue in its current form. And Europe was not alone. CONCACAF, representing 41 associations across North America, Central America, and the Caribbean, also rejected the plan. That means two major confederations looked at FIFA's proposal and decided the promised money did not outweigh the risk. FIFA calls the plan a way to turbocharge football development across all 211 member associations. That is the official sales pitch. And yes, the money matters. For a small federation, $20 million could build pitches, train coaches, fund medicine, and support youth teams. But that is exactly why the offer is so uncomfortable. The federations needing the money most are the least able to treat it as optional. The countries most dependent on FIFA funding are also the countries under the greatest pressure to accept FIFA's preferred structure. A wealthy federation can reject the check and continue operating. A poorer federation may have to choose between independence and infrastructure. That is not an equal negotiation, even when every association technically receives one vote. Africa's confederation has not joined the boycott and has indicated it will evaluate the proposal before deciding whether to support or oppose it. But willingness to consider a life-changing payment is not the same as enthusiastic support for selling part of the World Cup business. FIFA will argue that no one is selling the trophy, the rules, or the tournament itself. Only part of the commercial company is being offered. Technically, that may be true, But the World Cup is more than a rulebook, a legal structure, and a gold cup under glass. Its value comes from national teams, players, supporters, broadcasters, sponsors, and countries that spent generations making the tournament matter. FIFA is now asking those countries to approve private ownership of part of that value, after many say they were barely consulted. That is the part worth criticizing. Not simply that FIFA wants new money, but that it appears to expect consent before earning public trust. FIFA does not own the World Cup's meaning by itself. It administers something the entire football world created, and yet the proposed deal was presented as though the organization could redesign its commercial future first and explain the consequences afterward. The first consequence may arrive in only 36 days, when the Women's Under-20 World Cup begins in Poland on September 5th. If the boycott remains, a European host could stage a FIFA tournament without the European teams qualified to play in it. That would be more than an administrative failure. It would show what happens when FIFA treats consent as a box to check. Infantino is seeking re-election in March 2027 and is still expected, for now, to face no challenger in the presidential vote. But unanimous rejection from Europe has turned a commercial proposal into a direct test of his authority, judgment, and ability to keep football united. So picture the next World Cup draw. The same red carpet, the same speeches, and the same trophy displayed beneath perfect lighting. Then picture the empty spaces where Spain, Germany, France, and England should be. FIFA may be able to sell a piece of the World Cup business. It cannot force the football world to believe that piece was theirs to sell.